President Trump went off on Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Green, calling her a rotten apple after her sit-down with CBS's 60 Minutes.
Trump wrote on Truth Social in part, quote, "The only reason Marjorie Trader Brown, Green turns brown under stress, went bad, is that she was jilted by the President of the United States. Certainly not the first time she's been jilted. Low. Too much work, not enough time, and her ideas are now really bad. She sort of reminds me of a rotten apple. Marjorie is not America First or MAGA, because nobody could have changed her views so fast, and her new views are those of a very dumb person."
Trump also demanded a total apology from 60 Minutes and host Lesley Stahl, extending his criticism to the network and its new owners. He wrote, quote, "My real problem with the show, however, wasn't the low IQ traitor, it was that the new ownership of 60 Minutes, Paramount, would allow a show like this to air. They are no better than the old ownership. Since they bought it, 60 Minutes has actually gotten worse."
Speaking of Paramount, let's talk about the streaming giant's aggressive bid for Warner Brothers Discovery. Days after Warner Brothers Discovery agreed to sell its streaming and studio business to Netflix, Paramount Global went straight to Warner Brothers shareholders and offered an all-cash deal valued at $30 per share. Netflix, on the other hand, offered $27.75 per share.
Additionally, Axios reported that Affinity Partners, that's the private equity firm led by President Trump's son-in-law, Jared Kushner, is part of Paramount's takeover bid for Warner Brothers Discovery. Sovereign wealth funds from Qatar, Saudi Arabia, and Abu Dhabi are also participating, but neither them nor Kushner's firm were mentioned in Paramount's press release on Monday.
Trump told reporters over the weekend regarding the sale of Warner Brothers Discovery to Netflix, quote, "I'll be involved in that decision." Reactions poured in online for what looks like the biggest media deal of the decade. Outkick founder Clay Travis wrote on X, "If you're a Trump voter, you want Paramount to buy Warner Brothers. Paramount would restore some form of sanity to CNN as part of their purchase. Netflix would lead to further far left-wing media consolidation."
But Senator Chris Van Hollen, a Democrat, also chimed in. He wrote on X, "The Warner Brothers merger was already suspect, but now Trump's family is getting in on the act. Jared Kushner, Trump's son-in-law, is now part of Paramount's bid for Warner Brothers Discovery, and they cite him as the reason why their bid is more likely to get approved. This cannot stand."
A lot to get into here. Let's start with MTG and then talk about the broader landscape of this deal. I watched part of the interview. I didn't think it was, again,
It's fine.
She said the same thing she's been saying. She has not changed her views. She disagrees with Trump on Epstein files and some of the foreign policy, made that clear. I do think she's personalized it. He's also personalizing it. Mm-hmm. They're doing this in a very personal way for both of them, and she's very hurt. Maybe he's hurt, I don't know, and that's sad for them, but there's nothing surprising here.
No, not really. And I also think that perhaps the thing that may have got under Trump's skin more than any other is this picture she draws of Republicans basically mocking him behind his back, or certainly being distrustful of him behind his back.
He doesn't like being told he's being mocked behiund his back.
Right, yeah. And that was the suggestion there. But you're right, she has said similar things to this before. And to segue into our other element of this topic, the idea that he's sort of taking umbrage about Paramount putting such an interview on. She's a member of Congress, she's influential, at least on social media, and she has an interesting viewpoint. It's absolutely journalistically valid.
It would be healthy for the administration. Look, Trump's approval numbers are way down. They're heading, it's still a long way off, but they're going to get, right now it would look like they get killed in the midterms. Mm-hmm. So the ship needs to be righted, so it's not time to start people offering criticisms of the direction the administration is taking. You should listen to those criticisms, not ignore that. How dare they even air criticisms of us? That's not the starting point of a party that is setting itself up for success. You're right. If it was 55% approval and the economy was doing really well and there was this malcontent with some obsessive issue, then you could safely ignore her. That's not the situation the Republicans find themselves in today, is what I would say.
Absolutely. Now, on the bigger deal, I'm also curious if this is going to, or not going to be, one of the areas where our different ideologies meet in the middle, because there seems to be a lot of obvious political interference, basically, in this deal. Trump saying he's going to get involved in the decision. It's up to his Justice Department to decide whether or not to block one of these deals on monopoly grounds or monopolistic grounds. And the degree to which he seems to at least be preparing the ground for a decision that is made in part for his own political reasons is, I assume, something you have problems with.
It is horrifying. Now, Trump so far has not said that much concretely about this. I heard him the other day saying that he really respects the CEO of Netflix, Ted Sarandos, and said he's done really wonderful things, but it'd be a lot of power for one person to have. I don't know. We'll see. Not very committed. I suspect he wants them to try to flatter him, both sides of this. But look, I'm horrified. I mean, this is why I'm not a big fan of antitrust. I'm horrified by the fact that which of these companies merge hinges on whether you think the government is going to approve of it from both perspectives. There are Democrats rooting for one outcome and Republicans rooting for one outcome, and they should be able to root for them as spectators, but they actually have to have oversight of the project. Is exactly why I don't think they should have it. It seems obvious to me that Warner Brothers should get the best deal for its shareholders, and that should be the only consideration. And what the federal government thinks about it should be zero importance. But that is going to be a major thing. Jared Kushner's involved in the other thing. Maybe that makes it easier. The Trump people like Paramount more because of all those Ellison people involved. That's totally offensive to me.
And the Wall Street Journal has a great story this morning talking about the backdrop to this deal, and including the idea that David Ellison has been going around telling Trump aides that if he got it, he would do something about CNN. That can't be the basis in a free society where we decide media ownership. Perhaps worth mentioning that one of the distinctions in these two offers is if Netflix buys it, that doesn't include CNN. It's like spun off in a different way, whereas Paramount wants to buy the whole thing, kit and caboodle, including CNN, which would mean the Ellisons, big fans of Trump, and in Larry Ellison's case, a massively wealthy individual, would own CBS News and CNN, which I have problems with.
Right. It's increasingly difficult to remember who owns what and who. I was like, Warner Brothers. Which intellectual properties are those? That's Batman is going to be on.
Right, and HBO is part of this.
The Looney Tunes.
West Wing, which I'm sure you're a big fan of, Robby.
My mother is a huge fan of the West Wing.
Rightly so.
She just keeps rewatching it. HBO. Right. HBO would be part of this.
That's right. So it's all very complicated.
We shall see.
We shall. Meanwhile, the mother of Caroline Leavitt's nephew is speaking out against the White House after she was detained by ICE. We will talk about that next. Don't go anywhere.